Your directing reel is gorgeous, and you have so many artistic shots, even of the
Thank you.
client work that you've done. You can really see the detail and the angle and how you know the composition. Was that your plan all along, to sort of pay the bills doing client work and then make indie films on the side? Not a bad plan, by the way.
Yeah, I've been really fortunate in that regard. Way back, I was trying to make it work. I was waiting tables and bussing tables and doing whatever odd jobs I could back in New York, and was really trying to find ways to get my freelance career up and running. I mean, I did everything from, and this dates myself a bit, but I did a public access TV show for a while. I was just constantly trying to find ways to do things, and then I fell into doing some music videos early on, which was great. But even then, wasn't enough to support myself. And a few evictions and apartment changes later, I was like, I got to figure this out, and fell into kind of the world of doing fashion videos. First it was internals, then it started being in-store videos. And then after a number of years of doing that, I was doing commercials for a couple of notable fashion brands. And that was just a great experience because you're working with some of the top fashion photographers in the industry and kind of learning a lot from them about lighting, composition, just framing and what that does to the perception of a person. Working with great stylists and hair and makeup teams and creative directors that had so much to add to the aesthetic aspect of filmmaking, which just I think heightened the storytelling sensibilities as well. And then also as a way to pay the bills, it's great. You know, even the small jobs are. There's always something that you're learning from it. It's getting to see different locations. I mean, one of the locations that my new film, Blood from Stone's based around, I discovered while on a shoot. We were doing a shoot in Nevada and we were staying in Laughlin, and I was just walking along the river walk in Laughlin. I'm like, this is an amazing, you got the casinos on one side and this raging river on the other side, and it was just such a surreal place. I'm like, I gotta shoot something here one day. So
Was Oh, sorry,
that's
I'm
okay.
sorry. Was that part of where the main character, the protagonist, where she was jogging at
Yeah.
night?
Yeah, that was that
Okay.
exact river walk. And in fact, the same stretch, I was having that thought process while I was walking it. Um, yeah, it was, we were staying in one of those casinos, and I actually just went for a walk one night and walked all the way along the river and across the other side. Yeah, it was just such a fascinating place. And even in the casinos, I mean, the casinos in Laughlin are a different breed than the ones I was familiar with in Vegas, the big, glitzy, glamorous ones. They're a little more quaint, a little more run down. Clientele is a different type of clientele. And there were so many stories just happening there at any given time that I just kind of had a fascination and a bit of an obsession, and just always had that place in mind. And then this story just worked so well with.
Yeah, I think Reno is like that as well. Parts of
Yeah,
it. I don't know if you've been there, but
definitely.
there is a sort of a nice. I don't know if this is the right word, but desperation that's added into the
Yes.
storytelling that I
Yeah,
think works so well with that. The gambling and the money
it does. And
portrayal.
I mean, I'm a big fan of location symbolism in my films. I mean, I've got the two features to speak for that. Frey was obviously, shooting the epic forests of the Pacific Northwest and including the logging industry into it as sort of a metaphor for what happens to our men and women who we send off into combat. And with this one, it was similar. It's a movie about vampires, and what better place than casinos for the symbolism of just these machines that suck the life savings out of people. And you know, so it was kind of a natural fit, as well as like where else would those that have to only exist at night be able to have a normal existence in a casino town that never sleeps. So, so yeah, it was a very to me it was. I like exploring that within the film, the making the locations and the environments a part of the story, the symbolism, and themes throughout it, because it just, it gives. When I did Frey, actually, I almost thought I was just being pretentious by doing that. I was like, oh, nobody's going to pay attention to this. I was really pleasantly surprised how many people in audiences would talk about that afterwards, about the symbolism of the forest, seeing the logging and the wood splintered by the machines, and him cleaning up the debris of that, juxtaposed with him dealing with his own physical wounds from war. And then the piece you would find out in the forest with these big, tall, standing trees, and the quiet there, and just that back and forth. It was amazing to see how that spoke to audiences and how much they pulled from it. And so I kind of was inspired to just keep going with that in this film, and really weave so much of the environment into the actual storytelling itself. Not just cool places to shoot, but what do they say? Some of the places we shot at were very, very historic places. Pioneer Saloon has been there since, I think, 1912 or 1913. It's an old frontier saloon that it still has a bullet hole in the tin wall from a gunfight back in the old days. And we had Atomic Liquors, which is the oldest freestanding bar in Las Vegas, where people would go watch the atomic bomb blasts back in the day while having some cocktails. And El Cortez Casino, which is the oldest independently owned casino in Vegas and still keeps so much of its original character, and all those things to kind of play with the idea of the symbolizing the old world and the old eras, contrasting with our new eras that's trying to, arise or from these old eras. And so bringing a lot of that symbolism in through those location choices, I think helps really bring the film together in a much more realistic and fleshed out way.